Hello, beach friends. Today we're going to be spending a gorgeous day on Tigertail Beach down at Marco Island. Now, just like we typically do, we're going to be walking along looking for all sorts of beach treasures, including seashells like this. And then, of course, we may also run into a couple of critters because sometimes these snails are alive and they're not quite done with their shell yet. So we'll say hi to a couple critters along the way and just enjoy a really beautiful day on the beach. So if you're ready to see what's out there for us today, let's go to the beach. So here we are at Tigertail Beach. I really do like Tigertail. The only drawback is that you really got a long walk before you get to the beach proper. I want to say it's a good 10 to 12 minute walk, but there's a really sweet spot once you kind of get to the beach. I really like that area to go shelling, so we are going to check that out. Looks like the tide, reason I came here is the tide is going out. Unfortunately, it does look like there might be some thunderstorms, and we can see those thunderstorms, what they look like offshore. That's those little red blotches there, but I think we're just going to make the best of it. I'm going to try to stick near the entrance. I won't meander too far, but definitely want to see, now that we're here, we're going to be able to take hopefully advantage of a low tide. Let's see what's here. So upon first inspection, looks good to me. Got a little discolored, little discolored scallop. And your prickly cockle. I do like those prickly cockles. So it looks like we're going to have ourselves relatively typical fall-ish or late summer day here at the beach, and my favorite place to shell is in that water. So I'm gonna see what's in there, and again, probably not gonna move too quickly. I am gonna be cognizant of those rain clouds out in the distance. So we have a little bit of cloudiness in the water, no problem, because at least it's a little bit clear. It'll clear up in between those waves, and at least you can kind of see. And then you do a little grab, and here we have a juvenile fighting conch. Fantastic. Love the patterns of those little shells. And, oh cool. All right, I already told you I like those prickly cockles. I never seem to leave the beach without collecting at least one, and here we have one that is hinged. Fantastic. It's like a bonus. I got two for the price of one. A prickly cockle. And keeping my eye on those cumulonimbus clouds that mean rain. For now, they're pretty well offshore, so we're okay. They sure do look pretty. So we're just going to meander, keep my head down, probably for most of the time, seeing what treasures are rolling around in the water. Here we have a lettered olive. Those are a little bit easier to spot because they're round and they roll faster, so they're just kind of easier to spot when they're rolling around in the surf. Seeing what else we got here. So it's just really fun, this kind of rhythm, and the clarity of the water just kind of changes. It gets cloudy, it gets clear, and then you can kind of get in there and grab. So this is really kind of the fun part, the hunt. And I love this time of year, and I love being in the water and shelling. I know, oh, see, that's probably what I was hunting, a big old lettered olive. This time of year is not the best for shelling, but I still really like it. Quiet beaches, the shells are still here, and I can be in the water. Lovely little fighting conch. Yeah, I like being in the water now because when the winter comes, it does get cold enough for me to stay out of the water. Not because the water's cold, but because the air is cold. It just kind of makes it, I don't like the cold. And what do we got? All right, something I didn't want to chance losing. Looks like a little jasper cone. So sometimes I get a little grabby And just because I don't think I'm going to be precisely able to grab the one shell I want, I'll kind of grab a handful and see what I can get. So let's meander a little bit up on the beach. Let's see what's here. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of what things are on the beach. And this is very typical. Here's a broad rib cardita. So I would say for a, September day in Marco Island, this is very typical. Shells everywhere. So there's pretty much always going to be something that you can kind of comb through and look for shells. I've been doing a lot of traveling, and not all beaches are created equally. I tend to kind of like these Southwest Florida beaches for the seashells. Here we have a lovely calico scallop. Wonderful. One of the few scallops we can get down here. Oh, and a lettered olive. I do really like those. And you'll see that I kind of rub my thumb on them because I'm trying to give it the shine test. See the lettered olive on the right? Really, really shiny. The one on the left is fine. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not really, really shiny. You can actually feel that shine. There is a difference in the shell. So when I pick up that shell and I'm kind of rubbing my thumb along it, that's what I'm doing. I'm giving it the old shine test. It's not going to tell me how slippery it is, but it will tell me how shiny it is. That lovely lettered olive. Yep, still kind of keeping an eye on those big pretty clouds. Still staying offshore. So we are safely meandering in the surf, looking to see what's rolling around in there. Oh, man. Okay, so that's a flat, really desirable collectible shell. Unfortunately, it's a little discolored. It's a little broken. I'm going to keep it anyway. So I suspect that gray in the shell really should be white, a little discolored. That's okay. I'm going to hold on to that little flat. Wow, that was really easy to spot. So here we have a little horse conch, and that bright red color. It's so funny. It's reserved for a couple shells. That is one of them. That little horse conch can be that bright, bright red color. Oh, little sunray Venus clamshell. It's one of the two rather fancy clamshells that I like to collect. That and the calico clamshell. What do I see? Well, hi there. Lace murex. Fantastic, right? It's not pristine, but I still think it's a fantastic find, and I'm going to hold on to that lace murex. All right. What else is rolling around here? Tide's still going out. Oh, the rain got pushed back to 11:45. Earlier it said rain was possible after 11, so now I'm feeling a little better, feeling a little more confident that we're not going to get chased off the beach. Woohoo! A kitten paw. Cute little kitten paw. They are typically kind of that reddish and that white color, but they come in all different weird kind of shapes. All right, now what do I got? See all sorts of pieces. Oh, I think all this effort, is for that little banded tulip. I do not know how many or how few of those I will see today, so put a little extra effort in to find that little banded tulip. And another broad rib cardita. I like this one because it's got like an ombre coloring on it. Very pretty ombre shell. Okay, so this is just a calico scallop. Now you'll notice the barnacle, and people ask, how do you know if it's empty? If it kind of looks like a volcano, so it's empty on the inside, you're probably okay. There's something on the inside, just leave the shell at the beach. Here is another sunray Venus clam. Looks more like Morse code. Doesn't really have those beams on it, but still a very cool little shell. I like to admire the different patterns. And this is an Atlantic white simile, and I honestly would not know this shell if it wasn't for those little purple pinkish splotches on the back of the shell. Kind of looks like a lucine, looks like a bunch of other stuff. And this is another one of the sunray Venus clams, very, very different from that other one we had just picked up. Kind of put them side by side, or on top of each other, really. Then I got the Morse code one on top, and that, other one on the bottom, just I like admiring all the differences in all the different shells, or actually the same species, but very different nonetheless. So I'll take a peek up here. Saw some people, I figured, let me go make sure there's nothing good that I'm missing up here. But we're looking at pretty much, there's your ponderous arc, some of your surf clams. The arcs are very, very ubiquitous. You're always going to find your arcs. Here we have a half of a piece of a buried, probably a rough scallop. So there's stuff up here, for sure. I just kind of like being in the water. I feel like the shells that are in the water, I'm going to get the first crack at them. So they're going to be a little bit fresher, maybe a little bit better. I don't know, but that is kind of where I like to shell, if at all possible. As long as I can see and the temperature is warm enough, I do like to kind of walk along the water and pick up those shells right out of the surf. Oh, isn't that pretty? So that is also a calico scallop. Gorgeous color on that lovely seashell. Okay, and that is a fighting conch. That is a juvenile. And normally I'm going nutty over the different patterns. And this one's kind of pretty because it's kind of monochromatic. I like that shell. Pretty monochromatic shell. All right, so a couple more people on the beach. Not many, clearly not crowded. But as the day marches on, there's a few more people popping up on the beach, and I really haven't made it all that far. Those buildings are normally way down the beach, but because of my slow start and I didn't want to really risk it getting too far down with those storm clouds, I haven't made it very far, but that's okay. I still think we're having, or at least I'm having a really good time. Here we have a lightning whelk. All right, it's not pristine, but still pretty dang good. So I'm going to go ahead and hold on to that lightning whelk. Oh, really pretty. Okay, so that is another calico scallop. Just lovely. A lovely calico scallop. Oh, I think, I do think that I'm going to try to find a gaudy. I think I saw a gaudy slide, and I'm going to take an extra time to find it. Yep. And it's just because I've done this so many times. I've had a lot of practice. And so sometimes I'll just see a flash of a shell and my brain will know what it was. So I was looking for this. It's called a gaudy nautica, also known as a colorful moon snail. Yay! Time for another check-in. So the tide's still going out. All right, now it feels like 97, and pretty much the rain, they've stopped trying to warn me about the rain. So I think at this point we are safe to just really enjoy ourselves. Now, this is probably alive. Yeah, when you see a shell that is in that good a condition kind of rolling around, you either got really lucky or it's alive. So this is a live lightning whelk. I'm just going to walk it out into the water that's just a little bit deeper, dig a hole with my foot, and let that critter do its lightning whelk thing. Okay, another juvenile Florida fighting conch. Nice patterns on that. Terrific little shell. Oh, and a buttercup lucine. Bam. It's not too buttery. It's half the calories. So that is a very nice buttercup lucine. Oh, and a jingle. I do so like jingles. Now, they're also known as baby's feet, and you probably are, I don't know that I've ever, maybe once I found a hinged one, because they typically have a hole in the bottom part of the shell, and they have these little threads, and they kind of attach themselves to things. So the top part of the shell pops off pretty easy. You're going to have a much harder time finding the bottom. Ooh, I saw a bright color. We got ourselves another one of those really bright orange Florida horse conchs. Awesome. Okay. Now, this is one of the few. We really don't get all that many scallops. This is a rough scallop. Now, I want to show you the difference between a rough scallop and a calico scallop. So immediately I start looking for one of the calicos, and I didn't find it right away, but here we go. So on the left is the rough scallop, on the right is the calico. Now, the rough scallops, those wings on the bottom, for me, that's really the telltale. It is shaped a little bit differently, but the calico on the right They don't really have wings. They're kind of boxy. So the rough scallop on the left, I kind of look for those wings. The calico on the right, I'm kind of looking for that little boxiness of those little, I guess, little pieces that are on the bottom. So that is how I tell the difference between a rough and a calico scallop. This is another prickly cockle. It's a little bit yellow on top, which is kind of fun. So I do like me those prickly cockles. And I've been talking and we've been walking and doing a lot of hunting. So I think it's time to relax and enjoy a little bit of beach time. Another lettered olive. I have a hard time resisting them. They're dark, they're pretty, they're pointy, they're shiny. I just love those lettered olives. And the moon snails. And what do we got here? Oh, a coquina. They have the most pretty colors, don't they? They come in pinks and yellows, just really bright colors. Gorgeous little coquina. And then here is another coquina, but it's pink. For a hot second, I thought that might have been a rose petal talon, but that is just a piece, half of a pink coquina. Another worm snail. I do like those worm snails. So that is just one of the few different types of little twisty, fun things you can find on the beach. So I'm making my way up a little bit. I'm really kind of surprised at this point. I haven't found any sand dollars. I almost always find at least one sand dollar when I come to Marco, and I actually have my big container for it, and I haven't found any yet. But I am looking. I am on the hunt for some sand dollars and whatever the kind of fun things might pop out at me. Here's one of those rose petal talon shells. Yep, we'll just keep moseying along. I'm interested to see what's going on with that cut in the beach. Here is a purple tagalus that doesn't have that brown periostracum. They're really delicate. Those are hard to keep intact, but that is a purple tagalus. Okay. Oh, cool. And I didn't want to drop it, so that's why I did a grab and then I walk over the sand because I didn't want to lose that chestnut turban, just in case it kind of, I definitely drop shells once in a while, but that is a chestnut turban. Great condition. Kind of got that monochromatic. They can come in different colors, including that bright red color. Beautiful chestnut turban. Wow. You know, I pick up a lot of rose petal talons, and this one was like impressive. I mean, it was quite big. The rose petal talons allegedly get to about 1.3 inches big, and that's looking like maximum size. A big rose petal talon. Now here we have two crown conchs. The females lay eggs spring through summer, so I do not think that we have any kind of baby making activities going on here, but it does really make me scratch my head and go, what is going on? Is somebody eating somebody else? I don't know. But I just figured I'd let them have some private time. So I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to dig a hole with my foot, kind of give them some privacy. Now, I also thought it was weird because these are eggs from a crown conch. So it just was a little bit weird to me that we have some critters engaged in some activities perhaps. And then I also see these egg casings. Totally not the right time of year. So just kind of scratching my head. Things that make you go, Oh, and this is something that makes me go, yay. So that is a Florida cone. It's got a little bit of that periostracum, you know, that brown kind of stuff on it. Nothing that a little bleach won't take care of. That is a great find. We have ourselves a fine Florida cone. Okay, there is one of the cuts on the beach. Now, the beach had changed, and now the back bay kind of flows into the Gulf and vice versa. So that was not always like that. I want to say this cut happened within the last year. So it's new-ish. I was curious if it would still be there or if it would have closed by now. And I suspect that's why I'm kind of seeing these live crown conch. So this is another live crown conch. They typically kind of, oh, and I see a little critter too. So they typically like the back bay waters, muddy kind of waters, not so much this Gulf. And I was kind of making a comment because there's a little crab there too. So we have ourselves a live crown conch. There is a little crab hanging around as well there. You can kind of see it. And again, I suspect that this little critter is kind of misplaced. It really, not that it should be, it prefers that muddy back bay kind of area, but it's found itself over here. And again, I think it's because of that cut. So hopefully, it's nature. It'll work itself out and everything will be okay. We have more live critters. That's another live crown conch there. And above it, that is a live pear whelk. So I'm going to leave those alone. I did see this, and I think I see it siphon there. I just wasn't sure. So if I feel any resistance, yeah, I'm going to assume that that's alive. So I just kind of wanted to, if I was going to get any resistance, I'll just leave it alone. And yet another. So that is another live crown conch. Poor little buddy's just kind of rolling around. So I'm going to help a critter out. Just tuck it in a little bit. There you go. Anybody? Okay, worm snail. Got to pick that up. It's kind of fun. It's a little bit calm here. Kind of just pick those shells right out of the water. That's an auger, and you really got to be careful when you're shelling in the water that you don't have any hitchhikers. And these shells were driving me crazy because they looked, I thought it was a Wenzel trap. I was so excited. Yay! But it's the imposters, those fly speck ceriths. So there are shells that look just like other shells. There's shells that just make me bananas. Here's a couple of them because I love the Wenzel traps. Fly speck ceriths, they're okay. It's not a Wenzel trap. Here's a pear whelk. Oh, well, it's a little bit chipped up, so I'm probably not going to collect that. And sometimes I like to do an exchange. We'll put this one down. Let's pick this one up. Okay, here we have a top snail. Oh, well, it's got a couple little holes in it, so I'm probably not going to collect that either. But again, tons of shells to go through. Another lettered olive. Oh, it's a cute little thing. Cute little lettered olive. Okay, I remember I saw a tail and I thought, oh, could it be? It is low tide. And I pull the tail over and unfortunately the whole critter is there and it's alive. And I'm like, oh man, I am so sorry, critter. I was really just looking for your shell, but obviously you're not done with it yet. So I'm gonna walk out, dig a hole with you with my foot and tuck you in quite nicely so you can continue doing your lightning whelk thing. Oh, another sunray Venus clam. Very nice. Gorgeous bivalve. And another very pretty bivalve, another rose petal talon. So we have bivalves, which are critters that have two shells, like your clams and whatnot. And then you have gastropods, which are just one shell, like a tulip or like a moon snail like this. Wow, that is awesome. Oh, cool. Beautiful, like that dark and that caramel swirl color. There is a little shell jammed in there. It is not the animal. It's just a shell. Oh, that's gorgeous. So that technically would be considered a gastropod, and that is also a shark eye moon snail. What other fantastic things can we find? Okay, here we have little rose petal talon. Now, last week, if you came with me down to the Keys, you know that they don't have beaches like this. They don't have shells like this. So I was really out of my element. I would have been thrilled to find a prickly cockle like that. but there wasn't much at all. So Southwest Florida beaches, if you're really liking the seashells, I'm telling you, that's where you want to visit. And Tigertail is one of the fun beaches I like to go and look for seashells. A lot of walking, but really pretty, totally worth it. So we got real lucky with the weather, and it's about time for me to turn around and head back from whence I came. And of course, along the way, we're just going to see what other kind of fun things will pop out. Oh, not surprising. The angel wings, this is an angel wing, like to hang out with the crown conchs. So I am not surprised to see that angel wing. A little muddy, but it'll clean up just fine. All right, got grabby. Oh, heartbreaker. So that is a moon snail. Technically, it's a shark eye. It's got a little hole in it. It's gorgeous. It's a little chewed up, and I know it has that hole in it, but man, those colors. So I'm keeping it. Yeah, that's one of the ones I am not going to leave at the beach. Or this one. Wow. So that is a crown conch that I can keep. Beautiful color. They will have that rich purples and browns. Oh, gorgeous crown conch. Another. I'm not going to say it. You tell me what kind of scallop that is. I'm not going to say. You know what? Leave me a comment, please. Leave down below what kind of scallop you think that is. Oh, look at that. Now, would it be cheating if I were to tell you that is a calico scallop? Isn't that pretty? Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous. So here's part of that cut again, and it is really low tide, so I don't really have any advice as far as what this looks like at high tide and if you'll be able to traverse it. I'm assuming you will. I mean, you'll get wet. You'd be able to continue to walk down the beach. It is dead low tide now, so it's about 0.48 feet. Looks like the sun is hiding for a minute. Give us a little bit of a respite. Oh, finally. So I did see just a piece of a sand dollar, and it is a little bit weathered, but it's intact. So I think I'm going to be able to clean that up, no problem. I think. We'll see. So I'm going to hold on to that lovely sand dollar. So at least I got one sand dollar. Oh, isn't that pretty? That delicate pink. So that is another calico scallop. Gorgeous color. It was a great day for scallops. So once again, marveling at those gorgeous summer clouds and really happy that they managed to stay offshore and allow us to enjoy our time here at the beach. However, I do really want to kind of get off the beach at this point. So there is a little bit of a shortcut you can take, but it's not for the faint. You are going to need to walk through a lagoon, and also kind of finding the path wasn't quite as easy. It's not like there's a sign or anything out there. So once you kind of get out there, it's hard to tell where this path is. So I just use Google Maps, and once you pull up Google Maps, you can kind of tell there's your path there. So when I was on the beach, I pulled it up, I just started looking for that path, and I managed to make my way over to the lagoon. So this does chop off a whole bunch of time, but you are going to need to walk through water. Again, it is low tide now, so I don't know what to tell you. If the tide is high, does this become impassable? Unfortunately, I don't know. Maybe somebody else can leave some comments below and let you know. But again, not for the faint. You're going to have to walk through water that's a little bit cloudy, and it could at some points maybe even come up to your waist. And I'm not alone. I was not the only people. It's a thing. People definitely do it. There are some people behind me making their way back. So if you really wanted to get out there and get back, you can cut through the lagoon. And I love these signs. Do not take any critters. So here's the haul. It was a fun day. So we got some worm snails, some jingles, that one cat paw, one sand dollar. Totally happy with that. The semele, the spiny jewel box, the buttercup lucine, the one angel wing, and then some of those sunray Venus clams. So fun. Prickly cockles, broad rib cardita, some of those clams. We have the rough scallops. We have the calico scallops. And then we had that one lace murex. On the bottom, we have the juvenile Florida conchs. Above that, the lettered olives, and above that, the rose petal talons. So fun. We got a turkey wing, a purplish tegulis, one banded tulip, one lightning whelk, the jasper cone, and then my favorites are kind of the olive, the Florida cone, the flat, the crown conch, that shark eye. Oh, it was so pretty. Those bright horse conchs. So it was a great smattering of shells. I loved it. I really had a great time. Patreons, thank you so very much for monetarily supporting me and allowing me to go out and do things like this. And everybody else that watches and leaves comments, please know that I do read every single comment. Next week, we are doing something so special. We are going on a private shelling tour. I'm going to tell you everything about it. It was really cool experience. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you again next Sunday.